Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have some critical new developments, and we're starting right in the United States, where things are tense, to say the least. Celebrations for Halloween in Washington, D.C. apparently spiraled into widespread unrest. We're hearing that police and even the National Guard in the District of Columbia had to disperse the crowds, supposedly for violating a curfew for teenagers, a curfew that reports say was established by Donald Trump to combat crime. Some of the young people were arrested, but it's still unclear if they'll face charges. It's almost expected, isn't it? These kinds of events often seem to bring more problems than anything else. But this unrest is happening against a much more alarming backdrop, a potential crisis in food assistance. I used to have a seat inside one of those massive, well-known media corporations. I saw, from the inside, how they bend and twist the facts to fit whatever narrative they're pushing that day. I just couldn't do it, so I walked. Now I'm on my own, I answer to no one, and I get to tell you what's really going on. And what's going on right now needs all of our attention. So if you believe in this independent channel, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have the means, please think about becoming a channel sponsor. It's your support that keeps this voice alive, that keeps me digging for the truth. Honestly, I can't do it without you. Now, look at this. Nearly 42 million people in the United States depend on a special program for low-income support. But because of the budget disputes in Congress, its funding could be halted today. Think about that. The governor of New York, and you heard me right, has already declared a state of emergency. She's allocated $65 million just for food banks to help those in need. This is the first time in 60 years, 6-0, that this program might be suspended. Millions of families, people with incomes below the poverty line, could be left in an impossible situation. But as we know, the problems of ordinary Americans just don't seem to interest the Democrats. It's all about their ambitions. Never mind other countries, right? The main thing right now is to create problems for the Republicans. That's really all you need to know about the Democratic Party. And yet some people still believe they actually care. In response to this gridlock, President Donald Trump has declared that the Senate must abandon its obstruction, that procedure that allows them to delay or block a vote. Right now, it takes 60 votes to overcome it, which gives the Democrats the power to hold the Republican majority hostage. According to the president, this is the exact reason for the government shutdown, which, as you know, started back on October 1st. Trump is stressing that to get the federal agencies working again, the Republicans need to be able to act without these hurdles. This new statement came right after his trip to Asia, where he met with leaders from Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, and China. Trump called the visit a success, but he noted that foreign partners were asking him, why is the American government paralyzed? So now, all eyes are on the Senate. Will the lawmakers heed the president's call, or will they choose to negotiate with Democrats, whose popularity, by the way, has hit rock bottom? We're watching to see what happens next. While all this is happening, the Trump administration has also announced a massive investment in nuclear energy. They're planning to put $80 billion into building new reactors. The stated goal for everyone is to revive the nuclear industry and provide the states with the energy of the future. Right now, the U.S. has 94 active reactors, but many are outdated. These new plants are supposed to cover the rising demand for electricity, especially from artificial intelligence and data centers. Donald Trump has already announced, loudly and clearly, that America will once again be the leading power in the nuclear industry. The long-term plan is to quadruple nuclear energy production within 25 years, and naturally, the opinions of those who really believe in the green course won't be taken into account, not at all. And if anyone is brought out to protest, they'll be dispersed fast, especially since even now military units are being formed in the states specifically to suppress demonstrations, which, as everyone knows, are always paid for and only create chaos. There's no order coming from them. Now, let's look across the pond, because while the US is dealing with its internal paralysis, Europe is seeing its own share of shocks, starting with Germany. The well-known Volkswagen Group has recorded a new quarterly loss for the first time since the pandemic crisis. We're talking a loss of over 1 billion euros in the third quarter alone. The last time the company posted a quarterly loss was in the second quarter of 2020. The main reasons, according to the CFO, increased customs duties and major problems at their subsidiary, Porsche, which makes the sports cars. Back in September, Volkswagen had to significantly lower its economic forecast for the year because of low demand for those cars. And get this, According to Volkswagen, the tariff policy of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is costing the company about €5 billion a year. 5 billion. As you know, under the last trade agreement between the EU and the US, car exports from Europe are now hit with a 15% tariff. Before that, it was just 2.5%. Quite a change, isn't it? But that's not the only emergency in Germany. The Berlin-Brandenburg airport had to suspend all flights yesterday evening after unknown drones were spotted near the runways. Brandenburg police say an airport employee reported a drone at around 8 p.m. A patrol car crew also confirmed the sighting, but couldn't identify its flight path. The police searched the area with 2 helicopters and ground patrols, but they found nothing. No drones, no operators. Nobody knows for sure if it was one drone or several. The airport called the shutdown a precautionary measure. I think you understand as well as I do. These kinds of frightening moments are probably going to happen more and more often, and this isn't the first time. On the topic of police work, there's a shocking report out of Münster. Police there arrested 6 young people, aged 15 to 16, who were apparently terrorizing the entire city. Car thefts, stealing electric bikes, robberies, and many other offenses. And why? It turns out they were just doing it out of boredom. All attempts to rehabilitate them had failed, but now they're finally in custody. Their meeting spots were train stations, and their victims were just random passers-by. The authorities finally announced they had to use maximum measures, which means they can and will stop messing around, catch and lock up anyone disturbing the peace. All it takes is making the decision. And then, after a Halloween party in Stuttgart, several people had to be hospitalized. Police believe they may have been given prohibited substances. A festive party at a cultural center last night ended tragically, with mass hospitalizations. According to police, at least 10 people were taken to hospitals after they suddenly became ill. There were about 2,000 people at the event. A famous German rapper was performing, and several partygoers suddenly lost consciousness right during the concert. Dozens of medics and police arrived immediately to provide aid and evacuate those affected. Police have opened an investigation. Toxicology tests are supposed to determine if banned substances were really the cause. But let's be honest, it's already obvious they weren't drinking fruit juice and milkshakes. And of course, you always get one of these strange moments from Germany. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius has become a character in the new Asterix comic book. No, you didn't mishear me. The German defense minister unexpectedly appeared in the new issue of the famous French comic Asterix in Lusitania, depicted as a Roman centurion named Pistorius. In the 41st volume, the heroes Asterix and Obelix are fighting the Romans in Portugal, and among their opponents, it turns out, is a caricature of Germany's defense minister. This is the first time, I should note, that a German politician has become an Asterix character. The character even has the same name as the minister, though it's spelled a bit differently in the French original. The name Pistorius only appeared in the German translation. The translator insists it's not political satire, but rather a sign of recognition for the minister. But when asked by journalists, Pistorius himself refused to comment on his surprise comic book appearance. According to the comic, the good old Pistorius is defeated by the Gauls, who are powered up by their magic potion. But the creators explain this isn't really a disgrace, saying, after all, even the great Caesar can't defeat Asterix and Obelix. How much this will affect the reputation of Germany's defense minister, it's hard to say. You know, in those polls that many people no longer trust, Boris Pistorius was always in first place as the most popular politician in the country. Now, he's popular in comics too, but here is a story that's causing a real political explosion. A statement from Germany's foreign minister during a visit to Syria has triggered a storm of criticism, both in the German media and within the ruling coalition. While inspecting destroyed areas of the country, the foreign minister said he had never seen destruction of this scale, and then added that Syrian refugees will not be able to return to their homeland anytime soon. These words directly contradict the government's own line, as Germany's interior minister is preparing a plan to resume deportations to Syria, as well as Afghanistan. So, this statement from the foreign minister could effectively derail that entire process. Legal experts are already warning that courts, when deciding on expulsion cases, will now be able to cite his words, since they sounded like the official position of the country's foreign ministry. The minister openly said, "It's too early for Syrians to return, because there's nowhere to return to." It's all very sad. In turn, members of the coalition called the minister's words a political mistake. In the CDU, Friedrich Merz's party, they are perplexed how the head of the foreign ministry, who is responsible for a pragmatic foreign policy course after the era of moral diplomacy of Annalena Baerbock, could end up contradicting his own cabinet, but as it turns out, anything is possible these days. So, let's just quickly recap what we're looking at tonight. In the United States, we have a government shutdown, a looming food aid crisis that has New York in a state of emergency, and the president calling on the Senate to end the gridlock. At the same time, a massive new investment in nuclear power is announced. Meanwhile, in Germany, we're seeing drone scares at airports, shocking teen crime, mass hospitalizations at a party, and a bizarre political storm where the foreign minister's words on Syria might completely sabotage the interior minister's deportation plans. A lot is moving, and it's all connected. I believe much of what's most important, you'll hear from me first. These are the pieces on the board right now, and they tell us a lot. Write your opinion in the comments. What do you think about everything that's happening? And if you value this perspective, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you can, consider becoming a sponsor. It's your support that allows me to stay independent and keep bringing you the facts that matter. I truly appreciate every single one of you. We'll keep watching.